For the second year in a row, the monster trucks invade the legendary Clay Oval at Hagerstown. Crafty veterans, next-gen superstars, and legends of the sport are ready to make their mark on this hometown palace of power. Welcome to one of the legendary facilities in motorsports, the Hagerstown Speedway on the outskirts of Hagerstown, Maryland. This awesome Clay Oval once again playing host to the monster truck invasion here for 2023, and a full field of heavy hitters are in attendance to do battle for 3 days here at the Hagerstown Speedway, and the weather is supposed to hold out for us this weekend, but you can see there's some track changes on what is normally a very fast straight-line drag racing course with speeds in excess of 65, 70 miles an hour. This year, going to slow it down a little bit, reverse Chicago style, up and over the center rail. We'll show you how that works in just a moment, and there's a guy who may have a trump card on the whole field if the hometown curse does not defeat him, that being Mikey Botters, but he comes to the line against a tough lineup of competitors that includes, for the first time ever, Warp Motorsports out of Frederick, Maryland, that being Corey Snyder and Preston Perez. But those are not our only competitors here this weekend. You see the whoop section there on this side of the guardrail? That is for these guys. The Street Warriors return for 2023 to do battle on a Chicago-style course right here in front of the main grandstands. And we have a full field of these guys. We're going to take you through some pre-show qualifying highlights now. Ryan Brown qualified number one, came out in the second spot just behind Michael Murray and managed to out-qualify Murray, who we should be seeing back in action in just a little bit. A 24:30 was the time he was trying to beat, and you can see just how aggressive and treacherous this Chicago-style course will be. Very deep whoop section to negotiate, and you can see aggressive may be the way to go on this track, but I have a feeling we're going to actually see this thing get tamed down before the end of the weekend, because we want to make sure we have some Street Warriors left for Saturday and Sunday. Here you see Nick Winfield in the 95 Honda Del Sol feeling froggy, and he kept panning that thing, casing the jumps and then landing nose down, coming over the finish line. In fact, that right there was probably the best pass he made through the whoops as he tortured that little 95 Honda. Now, here's a guy who did not fare so well as he tries to take the conservative approach through there, Grady Savage. And we learned very quickly going conservative through those whoops will not actually help you, as he collapses the front suspension one side at a time, and right there it finally lets go completely. As you see the smoke coming out, those emulsion shocks letting go on the end of the second straightaway. Alan Riggleman as well in the 86 Ranger, unable to complete the course, and that was a shame as he was carrying our stickers on his door, but he'll be back later this weekend. We want to thank him for carrying our sponsorship this weekend. Samuel Kemp, another one, a little S10 Blazer, not able to complete the course, trying to go conservative again. Did not work for him. It will be to your benefit to try to leap over the whoop section and land on flat ground. As hard as that is on equipment, it may be the better way to go as we continue to see through the night. Now, Dana Mon driving the Wolf Motorsports Test Mule, again carrying our colors this weekend. We know this family very well as we go up and down the road into Waynesboro, Pennsylvania, and she had something for them. Not qualifying exactly where she wanted, but did get herself in the field in, I believe, the number 12 spot, if I'm reading correctly, at a 35.63. And here comes number 3 out of qualifications, Josh Myers in the Trash Panda, going harder than ever. In fact, he may have gone a little quicker than he needed to through some of these sections because he got real deep in the turns, and that may have been what hurt him in terms of his qualifying time in trying to get past Mike Murray and Ryan Brown. But he was very impressive and may have something for these guys when we come back for race time, because he was on a killer run. Good rhythm through that final leg. Michael Shaw going for a ride now. 29.56 would put him in 7th place overall. And again, a guy who's not afraid to leave a few spare parts on this track, although he comes to the line without the bumper cowling already. didn't have to worry about tearing that thing off, but he knew the guy right behind him might have something for him, as it was another member of the Wolf Motorsports family with one of those little XJs that we're so used to seeing up and down the road. These things get around these courses very quickly. Chris Wolf and the Wolf Motorsports entry out of Waynesboro, he would qualify in the 4th position with a 26.56, and he got smoother and smoother as he went on, trying to figure that whoop section out, kind of nose dove into the last 2 there on the final leg. Didn't quite come out the way he'd hoped, but got himself through there. Shannon Plank runs in the 10th position out of St. Thomas, Pennsylvania with a 31.15. The 95 Cherokee getting beaten and battered on through that final leg, but still managed to make the field. Elizabeth Myers in the Purple Lizard. Talk about a vehicle that definitely left its mark on this track as she made her way around in this big Grand Cherokee. There goes the front bumper cowling and the grill. Didn't matter though. Still managed to turn the crowd on and got herself in 6th place out of Greencastle, Pennsylvania. They clean up the track there now. Josh Mott, another member of the Wolf Motorsports team, in Letter Fly, although may not have followed his own rules here, trying to negotiate this track again. Each person had their own idea of what would take them through here the quickest and be most consistent to keep them in the field for the weekend. Didn't do too bad considering he took the conservative approach, ended up in 9th position with a 30.9. Here's our buddy Brad Kovacs. We used to see him down in Virginia Beach. Well, he's running Clifford this week, another Grand Cherokee. Kovacs of the 95 Jeep ZJ, leaving some plastic parts on the front stretch there, but he did manage to lay down a shot that got him into 5th place with a 29.4 second elapsed time. Our final competitor, Nathan Metz out of Chambersburg, Pennsylvania, 31.98, that would net him an 11th position start when we come back for our racing bracket. Another member of the Frame Rail Freaks crew did a nice job and got himself qualified for the main event. So that wraps up our qualifying highlights, and as tough as it was here with going single, when these guys come back to go nose to nose for bracket eliminations, it is going to get wild. Stay with us. The Monsters are up next.
This Back Channel Productions program is brought to you in part by Monsters Monthly. Stay up to date with photos, videos, event info, and more at monstersmonthly.com. And by Crush This. For an inside look at the monster truck phenomenon, check out Crush This, a Monster Truck podcast.
There's only one place in the world you can find this much old school cool. Freedom Racing Monster Trucks. The home of Cyclops and Unmade and Untamed. Get yourself a limited edition toy at freedomracingmt.com.
This Back Channel Productions program is brought to you in part by RPM Army, the place to get your motorsports fix.
Welcome back on a beautiful summer evening to the Hagerstown Speedway in Hagerstown, Maryland, as we get ready for bracket-style eliminations in our Monster Truck competition. The Monster Truck Invasion getting kicked off right now with round 1 of Monster Truck Racing. You saw Rick Disharoon, a legend in the sport, in smoking his own metal shop-built truck out of Delmar, Maryland. Shop located in Delmar, Delaware. Up against a man out of Massachusetts driving the truck out of Michigan, that being Joe Foley in Axe, the Jim Kohler-built chassis that debuted in 2008 as Avenger 2. That truck has quite a history on it, and still out here beating and banging with the big boys, ready to go toe-to-toe with the KG veteran Rick Disharoon. This will give us a good first look at this course. And you see the staging light down center of the rail, waiting for it to go green as we get the thumbs up from both drivers. Jump off the line, and the early edge goes to Joe Foley in Axe. Disharoon trying to make up the difference, but very carefully negotiating that first turn ramp up onto the front stretch, and we'll get a look right now at which one of these is going to be the tougher turn. You can see taking it easy, not getting out of shape. Look at this. Foley almost DQs both of them, getting out of shape, coming to the finish line. Joe Foley in Axe will pick up the first round victory, and I'm not sure that we've determined which one of those turns is going to be the tougher of the two. I will say this, when you turn down onto the infield, you got to negotiate your way past the concrete rails and the scale house. It's a much more narrow lane. You can't just hammer it through there if you're not straight, or you could get into some of the obstructions down there. This top side may be a little safer for the heavy right foot, but that remains to be seen. Chris DeHoyas rolling into stage now in the higher education school bus up against Preston Perez out of Frederick, Maryland by way of Spokane, Washington. In fact, Perez going toe-to-toe with the truck he used to drive when he worked for Voders Motorsports, now taking his best shot at it. Slight edge for Toxic, but he gets into the Street Warriors track. DeHoyas, beautiful first turn, got right up there onto the front stretch. Not slated to be the favorite out of this pairing, but he is moving quick. DeHoyas with the quick drive, and wow, did Perez make that close at the end. DeHoyas will pick up the win in the cool bus, and he gets into the rail. I don't know why he came back up onto the front stretch. He was supposed to make a left-hand turn back into the pits, but I'm not so sure he doesn't realize the race is over at this point. He's already gotten the win. He may find that out for the first time when he gets back into that pit area, but a very, very impressive drive for the biggest Twinkie on wheels now. The safety clean Black Stallion, Mike Voders, the owner of the 4 Voders Motorsports machines. He was supposed to roll out now to face Steven Thompson, but the truck has gone silent and rolled to a stop in the whoop section. Did hear a little bit of clanging underneath of that thing as he was rolling out, and the loader is headed up behind him right now. So Torres sits there over on the other side, and I believe we're going to find out right now if Thompson's going to get a buy run in this round, or if they're going to just send him back to the pits and let him pass on to the next one without making a run, which might not be to his advantage, as tough as this course is going to be here tonight. Stallion getting towed off with apparent damage to the front end. They're going to have to go back and take care of right now, and Thompson is backing off the starting line. And yep, making the left turn back to the pit area, so it looks like he's going to get a free pass into the next round, or they might drop this pairing down in the bracket a little ways. I'm not sure exactly how this is going to work, but Thompson heads back into the pit area as our next pair comes up to stage. We'll wait and see what happens with Black Stallion and report on it in just a little bit as that develops. Right now, a pair of Ford-bodied machines going at it, a pair of second-generation drivers. Mikey Voders in the Overkill Evolution machine designed by his father and Marty Garza, one of the great minds of this motorsport. He goes toe-to-toe with another one of the Metal Shop Signature Series trucks, that being Illuminator, machine that debuted in late 2020. See what he's got from Mikey Voders here in round 1. Pretty even off the start. First turn though, Voders with a big lead coming back. Snyder really going to have to push in the final leg. Voders making very short work, and right there Snyder has to lock it up. He gets too deep in that corner and almost runs into the end of that rail in front of the scale house, but that is why it is there, to keep these guys from getting into those buildings down there. Unfortunately for him though, Snyder was able to make quick work of him. Now, see our next pair coming out. Now it's a winner from the previous round. Going to be Joe Foley in Axe, so he's going to go right into round 2 against his boss, Jim Kohler in the Avenger out of Columbus, Michigan. Of course, Joe out of Leicester, Massachusetts. You'll be seeing him up in New York later this year, right on the Massachusetts border. Coverage will be coming at you very soon. Right now, though, taking on boss man Mr. Excitement, who built the truck that Joe is driving, so he knows what it's capable of. And we're trying to figure out what exactly is going on with the bracket, because my understanding was we weren't supposed to be in round 2 yet, but whoever advances from here is going to go right into the semifinals. Big jump off the line for Kohler. Into the first turn, Foley using the rear steering and locking up the brakes, trying to make short work of the turn, and a little bobble in the first turn for Kohler. Foley needs to take advantage of it, not going to happen. He slides up the face of the infield turn ramp. And Kohler will go on to the championship round. By the way, Foley very wisely, I do want to point out, very wisely waited on Kohler to go past him to drive off of there, so Kohler did not end up running into him. He wouldn't have been sure that Jim may or may not have seen him in that cloud of dust, but you can see right there, just a little bit too much throttle, and the rear steering looks like it may be malfunctioning on that truck here tonight, so we'll wait and see if he continues to have that problem. Now, Chris DeHoyas in higher education from Hagerstown, Maryland, going up against Delmar, Delaware's own Ryan Disher in the border town of Delmar, right there on the Delaware-Maryland border. Want to get that right, the metal shop out of Delmar, Delaware, and then Father Rick Disheroon out of Delmar, Maryland, proud to be a Maryland hero. Once again, DeHoyas gets into the rail, but this time it's going to cost him big. And you know Ryan can see that DeHoyas was right there on the other side of the rail, because he backs off. He will go on into the semifinal round with the shaker. So the man of the metal shop taking a victory over the big school bus. Look at this right here. Tried to do the same thing he did in this previous round and slide up the face of the ramp, but he got way on the outside of that thing and dumped it right onto the guardrail. It actually might have been to his benefit that the guardrail was there, because as far over as that truck leaned, he could have gotten in big trouble. Now, here the confusion continues with the bracket, because this was supposed to be a round 1 matchup, and it's going to come here toward the end of the semifinals. Taurus and Black Stallion, neither of whom ran in round 1. Late start for Vodders. Stephen Thompson working his way around, got a little out of shape there, got way over on the left-hand side of the truck. But he's got a sizable advantage right now over Vodders, who is dealing with some mechanical problems. Can Thompson maintain? He's got a problem here. Vodders with the better turn coming back. Black Stallion will pick up a victory we thought for sure he wasn't going to get, and he will move on to the semi-final round. We're just getting underway here this weekend with the Monster Truck Invasion. Stay with us. When we come back, the Street Warriors come back to the track. Welcome back to the Hagerstown Speedway as the Monster Truck Invasion continues. We're going to take you through highlights of Elimination Round 1 in our Street Warriors competition. Ryan Brown would defeat a damaged Nick Winfield early on, feeling froggy. Unfortunately, the hard landings finally took their toll on the Del Sol. In fact, Winfield may be packed up for the weekend, as he took quite a beating there in qualifying and in round 1. Let her fly, Josh Mon with a bye run, one of 4 bye runs in the first round draw, as well as his wife Dana Mon in the test mule. She would get another shot at the track. It really worked out well for the Wolf Motorsports crew, because they didn't have to face anybody in round 1. The whole team will pass on into round 2, the quarterfinals, with just one more look each at this track and what they're going to be able to do to get through it quicker. Chris Wolf in Mini, the little XJ out of Waynesboro, continuing the bye run tradition here in round 1 for the Wolf Motorsports crew. Still going kind of conservative, wanting to think he'll have something left when he gets to the later rounds of competition. I guarantee you he's going to be tough to beat in the next round. And here's a guy who also had a bye run, being Josh Myers in the Trash Panda, but he didn't take it so easy, not conservative at all, wanting to keep that speed up, figure out the quickest line through the track. He is going to be very tough for the remainder of the evening as he flew this course, one of the fastest runs we have seen so far this weekend. And Elizabeth Myers taking on Nathan Metz. Advantage to Elizabeth Myers as she was certainly not conservative on this one. You can see pushing the Purple Lizard through the track very aggressively, and at the end would end up nosing down, stuffed it coming across the finish line. Maybe out for the night. We'll wait and see as they're back there working on the Purple Lizard right now. Michael Shaw up against Shannon Plank, and Plank didn't get very far down the track before the little XJ let go. The Grand Cherokee moving on to the next round. And our final pair in round one, Mike Murray up against Alan Riggleman. Mike Murray Jr. getting the better of these two runs, and it's good to see Mike out here with this little silver Cherokee Sport making his way around the track again. Qualified second. We didn't get a chance to see his qualifying run earlier, but you can see why he was so high up on the ladder. As we get ready now for the second round, or the semifinal round of Monster Truck Racing. We have our bracket worked out now. I'm not quite sure what went on there in the first two rounds. We had a few little mix-ups that got sorted out kind of on their own. Not ours to worry about. The action continues, and the fans are definitely getting their money's worth here tonight as a pair of kind of different generations of guys that have become legends over the years. There's a guy who's had his hands on a lot of technology in the sport, one of the real inventors of technology in this business, helped a lot with the long travel shocks that have become so common on these trucks, that being Michael Vodder Sr. from right here in Hagerstown in the Safety Clean Black Stallion, going toe-to-toe with Mr. Excitement, Jim Kohler, in the Corey Rummel-built Avenger out of Columbus, Michigan. Early jump goes to the big green machine out of Cold Country. Kohler, widest truck on the premises, has got to be tight to stay away from that outer rail. Looking good right now. Way out in front. Vodder's going to have to try to make up the distance again. Kohler almost perfect. What a final turn for Jim Kohler as he nosedives across the finish line. He will take out Mike Voders Sr. Voders will head back to the pits as the lone hope for the Voders camp comes to the line now, that being Overkill Evolution. Mikey Voders out of Hagerstown, Maryland, in the one-up off-road, and Marty Garza, Mike Voders Sr. designed Overkill Evolution. Chassis owned by a gentleman out of Texas. Had his hands on the entire Overkill legacy, and another chassis development center on the other side of the track being the Metal Shop Group with the Shaker. Let's see what they have for each other. Second generation battle right here. Little edge for Overkill. Can he hang on to it? Might have been a bit conservative on the first turn, but he kept himself inside the wall, and he has the lead going into the final leg. And a problem for Ryan Disharoon. That will hand the win to Mikey Voders, but he was on rails on that final turn. He would have been hard to beat coming down the home stretch, but I have a feeling that would have been pretty close had that problem not arisen for Ryan Disharoon out of Delmar, Delaware, as the Frame Rail Freaks XJ rolls out your number one qualifier in the Street Warriors. That being Ryan Brown takes on Josh Mon out of Waynesboro, Pennsylvania. Brown out of Chambersburg, Pennsylvania, coming off the line hard, and you can see Josh Mon having to push harder than he's pushed all night long. But it may be for not. Look how far out in front Ryan Brown is. Final corner already concluded. Ryan Brown with a big win, but a hard win. landing at the end. Knocked a little of the trim off the wheel well, but I don't think it's going to hurt him any as he rolls onto the pit area. That'll put him into the semifinal round. Next pair comes to the line. It'll be two generations here, father and daughter. Dana Mong, you saw there in the Grand Cherokee, the test mule. Chris Wolf on the other side of the track in Mini. And Wolf with the lead right now. Still not really flying that whoop section. Seems pretty confident, though, that he can get himself into that championship race, and he knows that he's probably going to have to fly this course in the next round. We talked to him a few moments ago, and he said before the night is over, he is going to have to push this thing as hard as he can. He wants to save something for those later rounds of competition. I believe he will be taking on Ryan Brown in the next round of competition, so he's definitely going to have to push hard. Now, Josh Myers, they're ready to roll out for a bye run, but he has got some problems evidently on the front of this thing. It is chugging. Some steam, a little bit of smoke actually coming out of it. It's either a heating problem, a lot of fluid dripping out from underneath him. I believe he may have a leaking radiator, either put a hole in it or he's busted the seals or he's got a hose coming off or something. Leaves a little trail of steam off the starting line. It's all right if he can get the run done and get it back to the pits. He'll be okay. First time tonight we've seen him not push the truck hard, though, so he may just try to get through this one with a legal run. We'll have to wait and see. As he comes across, he will move on to the semifinal round, where he will take on the winner of our next matchup, and it will be Michael Murray and Michael Shaw. You see Michael Shaw come to the line in Frankenstein. Things been tough all night long, and Mike Murray will get qualified second earlier today before the show. Little silver XJ coming off the line. Man, he got buried in those whoops. About dead even with Shaw. Solid turn for both. Man, Shaw got bounced in that one. Murray going hard right now. The left front suspension may be coming apart on him. Final jump. Mike Murray will go on to the semifinal round. He's going to have to get that thing back to the pits and take another look at it. And Shaw brings it to a stop on the front stretch with problems himself. As Murray quickly gets that machine back to the pits to take a look at it. We're going to go ahead right into our semifinal round here as Ryan Brown rolls into stage. The Instigator, he calls this machine, with the stars and stripes on the hood. And Chris Wolf. We'll see if Wolf pushes any harder in this round of competition than he has in earlier rounds. Both of them kind of catching the last little whoop in the whoop section. Right there together, though. Who's got the lead? Wolf. Wolf coming away without a truck length lead. Something going on with Brown's machine. He qualified number one, but he has lost a drive shaft. You see it right there. Chucking parts out from underneath the white Jeep from Chambersburg, Pennsylvania. He'll take it off the track. Chris Wolf moves on into our final round, and it will be Mike Murray. You saw him rolling to the line there. He will take on Josh Myers. So Mike Murray waits patiently. You saw Chris Wolf running to catch up with something right there. He apparently left some parts into the pit entrance. They're going to have some work to do to get him back in for the final round chase. This right here, though, should be a good matchup. Josh Myers and Mike Murray, second and third in qualifying. Murray getting beaten around in those whoops right there as the Trash Panda makes its way toward the final turn very quickly. Will it hang in there? Slowing down just a bit. Well, there's why. You see Mike Murray has broken down on the exit to the final turn, or to the inside turn right there, and comes out to a little love from the crowd here in Hagerstown. He's not too far from home. Murray out of Greencastle, Pennsylvania. I don't know, about 20 minutes up the road or so. Guy has a lot of friends, a little bit of family around here. He's crewed for a couple of the monster truck teams who are out here this weekend, including Vaders Motorsports and Warp Motorsports. So he's in good company here, but you can see right there when he broke down, that was the end of the road for both himself and Josh Myers, who obviously had to slow down to avoid running into the back of Michael Murray. Here comes Myers back out to the line, and Chris Wolf is already staged up to it, so it looks like we will have Chris Wolf back in action. He managed to get fixed whatever the problem was. Here we go, the final round. Look how hard Myers is pushing, and look at this. Chris Wolf brakes coming through the whoop section. Didn't even get to the first turn. Something let's go on Chris Wolf's little black and blue XJ, and he even gives a hand to Josh Myers. This was a night of survival here in Hagerstown, Maryland. What a race for these guys. And as I said, I have a feeling they are going to actually probably mellow some of these jumps out just a little bit. They're not going to take the speed out of the course. They're not going to make it easy on these guys, but they want to make sure there's something left for these trucks for the end of the weekend. But I can already tell you there's a couple guys that are not going to even be back for tomorrow as we get ready to roll with our final round of the Monster Truck Eliminator. There you see Mikey Potters staging already, and there is Mr. Excitement Jim Kohler out of Columbus, Michigan. Again, the Corey Rummel built machine. These guys do a lot in-house. These are some of the heaviest trucks in the business today. These guys pushing into the 14,000, upper 14s range. I'm not quite sure what the weight is on these trucks, but they are very heavy, but they are built for destruction. And these guys commit a lot of that all around the country, all year long, all the way out to the West Coast, known worldwide as Mr. Excitement, up against a two-time champion, Mikey Potters in the V2 pitch overkill evolution. Kohler pushing hard, goes way up and over the rail, and now he's in trouble. Almost got into that rail gun. In fact, he's on top of it. Mikey Potters may just have to make a legal run to take this one. We said it was going to be a driver's track, and it was. Overkill Evolution picking up the night one racing victory here at Monster Truck Invasion 2023 at the Hagerstown Speedway. Overkill Evolution, the racing champion here on Friday night. A little extra hang time to the crowd. What an awesome race that ended up being. We weren't totally sold on this track coming in here, as it's, like I said at the beginning of the show, it has traditionally been a high-speed, big air track. Still going to have some high speeds in big air when we get to freestyle competition, but really mellowing the speed out was something a lot of people were questioning. It was certainly not short on entertainment as we get another look at what happened to Jim Kohler right here. Came down hard on the nose, and I don't know, maybe he flat forgot those rails were right there. In fact, you can see there's multiple problems if you overshoot that turn because there's a telephone pole right on the other side of that rail. You don't want to get into that. And then when you come around to come into the final straight, there's the K-rails protecting the scale house. That got him into trouble as well. We're not done, though. We're only about halfway through the action. As we've crowned our racing champions, we still have Best Trick and Freestyle to go. Stay with us.
Hey, welcome to Wild Man Adventure. We're at the Silver Lake Sand Dragway. There really wasn't any off-roading back then. It was all off-road. We're on our way to Lima, Ohio. Got wooden wheels.
Oh, it's slippery as all get out.
Hey, we're here with Rich Cummins. Hey, we're here with Mike Potters.
Hey, we're here with Alan Pizzo.
Gotta check it out. This week we're gonna go down memory lane.
here at the Hagerstown Speedway in Hagerstown, Maryland. We're going to take you through some highlights now from moments ago in our best trick competition. That opened up with Rick Disharoon out of Delmar, Maryland. Right in the Delmar, Delaware-based Smokin' out of the metal shop, his own shop, right there in Delmar, Delaware. Beautiful Trey Myers painted GMC body on this thing, and very powerful truck, 557 cubic inch Chevrolet power plant built right there in-house. And experimental designs they've thrown into these trucks, trying to lower that ride height, find just that happy medium for these trucks. And it's tough with these new designs, but they've been getting the job done lately, as Ryan Disharoon, really the brains behind this newer design of metal shop truck that we've been seeing. Rick Disharoon getting the best trick competition underway, though, here at the Hagerstown Speedway. Not quite getting what he wanted out of the truck, but still laying down a shot in the big GMC. Kicking up the dust on a hot night here in the Old Line State. Proud to be from Maryland, Rick Disharoon, carrying the colors for the Old Line State here tonight. Another one of the Old Liners, Chris DeHoyas, driving the cool bus, was impressive in racing, much more impressive than we thought. Nothing wrong with the truck, nothing wrong with the driver, but the thing always tends to be an underdog, and knocked out one of the best in the business now, the new generation, Preston Perez, who's definitely not new to this motorsport. And speaking of Perez, he would come up right after De Hoyos, trying to raise the bar in Toxic, going for a little two-wheel action down on the far side of the infield, as you see right here. Wanted to get it into a moonwalk, but didn't want to throw it into reverse too quickly. He's been trying to perfect that move. Doesn't quite have, like I said, that happy medium, have it where he wants it, but this old PEI chassis will definitely do its job. One of the original Gen 3 Patrick machines. Early 2010s built truck now. Truck that debuted in 2007, still out here running hard, and a guy who's adding the new age of tricks to his repertoire, that being Mike Vodders, out of Hagerstown, Maryland, the host, the owner of many a machine, and again, a lot of R&D over years in the shock and suspension technology on these trucks. A lot going on in this guy's head at all times. Action continues here with Corey Snyder in the Illuminator. Trying for those slap wheelies. He got a decent one there. He wanted to stand that thing straight up and down. The dirt here tonight is just so loose. They watered the track a little earlier, and with the heat and the air blowing through here, it dried it right back out. So track not quite the consistency they would have hoped for, but they'll perfect that as the weekend goes on. Still, though, the crowd getting an awesome night of action underway here with Mr. Excitement and Avenger also trying to raise that bar. Another guy who's added these two-wheel moves to his routine. Now, want to talk slap wheelies? That's what Snyder wanted. This truck, this old V-cradle design, the higher rear engine, really loves getting up on those rear tires, but it's also capable of this, sometimes going a little too far. Left hand turn and then stuck the nose in the ground. And I said that fire truck would not look so pretty by weekend's end. And already here on Friday night, taking a toll on the fiberglass. No harm, no foul. Foley stays inside. All of the fire and safety doing its job as the crew rights the truck. Goes back into the pits, but he put one down. That would be tough to beat. Ryan Disharoon now in the shaker. Getting the moonwalk, doing a nice job with the heavyweight machine out of Delaware. Trying for more of a slap wheelie there, but it did not materialize for him. A lot of weight to try to pick the front end up, but plenty of horsepower to do it. He'll try to get that down before the weekend's over. I guarantee he'll have something else for these guys. Stephen Thompson in Taurus, showing off the two-wheel moves. Drove an Eddie Micah chassis when he worked for the late, great Tim Menti. Now driving an Eddie Micah chassis for Vaders Motorsports. Totally different power plant, though. He had a big block Chevy in his truck. A little bit different shock design on his, but with the big Ford power plant still making it work for him. One more Ford coming out for two-wheel, and it's a guy we knew would have something for this class. Mikey Vaders in Overkill Evolution. And can you tell he spent some time on a bike? One of these guys that just seems to be able to find center and get it to stick. He did an awesome job there, carrying the stoppie out, getting it back into a moonwalk, very gradual, didn't overshoot it. This second move, though, didn't quite work out the way he wanted, but that first move gave him just about all he needed. He wanted to get that thing back into a wheelie right there. Didn't work for him, but between the two moves, he was the crowd favorite, and he would take the best trick win out of tonight's action. Stay with us. We go back to live action with Freestyle when we come back to Hagerstown.
The world-famous C60 Cyclops, the infamous Dodge Carryall, unnamed and untamed. Get yourself a one-of-a-kind toy of a mudbogger turned monster truck at freedomracingmt.com.
It is freestyle time here in Hagerstown at the Speedway as Chris DeHoyas rolls out in higher education. The cool bus right here in Hagerstown, and DeHoyas driving a truck that really, and I don't want to take anything away from DeHoyas or from the truck, but this truck really has over the years become known as kind of an underdog, and it's carrying a lot of weight up top. That body, not easy to take on and off, so it's not one they like to roll over. Not that you ever really want to roll any of these trucks over, but the repairs on that one can be quite costly in the time department. But right now, he's been impressive here tonight. I'm not sure what he's going to do here for freestyle, but going after the course a little bit. We'll see if we get a school bus over a school bus shot tonight as DeHoyas works his way around. I think he's going to be wrapping up this first freestyle here in just a moment. Just coasting up and over either side of that thing as he goes nose down. Looks like he's going to head right back into the pits. They were having a few little issues with this bus early on. And again, very impressive what he was able to do with this thing that's known for having so much body roll over the years. Remember, in 2022, Vaders actually completely rebuilt this machine, and it's kind of more in line with the other trucks on the Vaders Motorsports team. In fact, it's got the old shocks out from underneath of Overkill Evolution on there. As our next machine rolls out, Rick Disharoo in smoking. Again, 557 cubic inches of Chevy might underneath of that Trey Myers GMC body. Trey from right down the road in Brunswick, Maryland, builds a lot of fiberglass for a lot of teams. In fact, here running the pits tonight, sending these trucks. You might catch a glimpse of him down there with his RAI, but Guy's been in just about every facet of this motorsport. In fact, drove the chassis that's serving as Taurus here tonight. Smoking. Rick Disharoon looking good right now, slipping and sliding his way around some dry gravel. Working the track nicely. It's tough on these speedway facilities because there's a lot of distance between obstacles. Not only being in an arena or a stadium or even on a fairground, there is the wall in the middle. You have to kind of pick your spots because you can get yourself kind of locked in with nothing really in front of you to hit. He's got some big problems though right now. He's either got a broken axle or maybe a broken drive shaft, potentially a broken rear end, but when he stood on the throttle, get a lot of spin out of those front tires and really nothing out of the rear. Although we can only see the left side of the truck, so it looks like he's going to head right back to the pit area. And Preston Perez in Toxic is going to roll out and keep raising that bar. Let's see what the man out of Spokane, Washington has. Big hang time to open it up. Pushing it hard, I'd say, and not to take away from our first two guys, but if he stopped right now, he might actually be able to take the lead on this freestyle. Not going for points, it's crowd applause tonight, so you gotta do everything you can to get these people on your side, and he is definitely doing it with the big hang time. You see how hard-packed this track is when you get up into those lit areas in the corner. The dirt, very dry but very shiny. This is a very hard-packed, thick clay here. There's a lot of bite here. On the surface, there's a lot of dust. And that's making it slick for these guys when they try to get those slap wheelies. If the front end doesn't rebound enough, you're just spinning the back tires. And that can take away from your momentum, one, and you can damage parts that way, too. Right now, though, Perez looking very impressive, and I'd have to say has definitely taken over the lead in this freestyle competition. Nicely done. There's a slap wheelie we're talking about. I know Corey Snyder's back there watching him right now because Corey's trick has always been getting those nice vertical slap wheelies. In fact, this is the truck that Corey drove for many, many years before they got the second chassis from the metal shop. And sometimes I think he'd like to be back in this thing, but Corey is driving it to perfection on this night in Hagerstown. Putting in a spin cycle on the front stretch to wrap it up nicely in between rails there. That is not easy to do. A lot of hang time in the run. In fact, started it off with the biggest jump we've seen so far tonight. And just going move to move in this thing. No wasted effort in that run. And something Perez should be proud of right now. If nothing else, he just made it a lot harder on everybody behind him, including the guy I was just talking about, former driver of that truck, still the same team, driving his father's original identity, the Illuminator, over Jay Snyder, father of Corey Snyder, who got his career started at the wheel of a leaf-sprung monster truck, the Undertaker hearse-bodied machine, out of Bethesda, Maryland. Bought Screamin' Demon from Gary Bauer. Later bought the third Virginia Giant, turned it into the first Illuminator. Now, Toxic 2.0 carrying the colors for Jay Snyder's Illuminator. Looking awesome under the lights here in Hagerstown. truck for those slap wheelies right now. He's doing a nice job, though. Plenty of hang time, got the momentum up on this thing. Again, 557 cubic inches of Kevin Stauffer horsepower in this truck. Nice hang time right there, and that's really what Disharoon built these trucks to do. These metal shop trucks, they have that low ride height. They really like to be sent. You get that big hang time, let those shocks drop out, and then soak up the hit. These things like that big hang time as he works the infield there. This truck, by the way, is one of the coolest looking when you get these dust storms like this because that glow is unmistakable. Off to the right-hand side. That has a lot to do with the camber of this track. There you go, slap wheel up and over the race roller. Serving its purpose. You wouldn't have been able to see him through all that dust down in the dark spot of that track. But just an incredible pair of runs out of the Warp Motorsports team. They've got to be proud of their showing here tonight. Didn't get what he wanted out of racing from either of those trucks. They both kind of got knocked out early, but doing a nice job here at Freestyle. More to come. Stay with us. Hagerstown Speedway as Freestyle continues. Here comes Mike Voders Sr. in the safety clean black stallion. You can see Corey Snyder and Preston Perez. Neither would let the dust settle, and we have to go right back at it. We will see what Voders has for these guys. Not going to let them walk out of here with a win. I have to wonder, though, will he turn on the old Thunder Nationals know-how, or is he just going to work his way through this Friday night and let the youngins have the glory? Really likes to run his shock stiff. We'll see if that has any bearing on how the truck runs here in Freestyle as he works his way now off the front stretch. Thought he was going to come back for these race lanes, but it looks like he's going to head down and pick on some of the big obstacles in the infield. Working the track nicely, and something a little different about this truck than in previous years is earlier in the year he moved the sway bar, the front sway bar, from the position forward of the front shocks to just behind the front shocks. He's making the truck handle differently. He says he likes it, and it actually helps him a lot when he does the two-wheel moves. Now, working his way around the track, suddenly actually shut him down there for a second. Got close to the pole, comes down hard on the front end, coming over the buses. And a lot of sparks coming out from the, looks like maybe the front diff. I'm not sure what he did there, but he is shooting sparks right now. The right front cambered in, so he's definitely done some damage, at least to, I believe, the right front knuckle may be damaged, and there's sparks coming out of the diff. But a lot of destruction to the safety clean Black Stallion, so he's going to head off the track, and that will be the conclusion of his run. He's going to have to go back into the pits and figure out what exactly he did. But look at this hit on the nose, bang, right there. Really shouldn't have torn the truck up too badly, but we saw sparks coming out of 2 or 3 different places on that front end now as Mikey Vaughters rolls out in Overkill Evolution. I can tell you right now, the run that these guys are chasing was that of Preston Perez in Toxic, and he's going right after him with the slap wheelie. Not something we're used to seeing Mikey do, but something he's definitely capable of, as he can make this truck do pretty much whatever he wants it to. Mikey Vaughters was down in the drainage ditch right there. Not sure what his plan was. Taking a shot at cross-threading the van stack. Just blasting whatever is in front of him right now. He's got to be happy with the way his night has gone so far. Picked up a racing victory and the best trick victory. Would love to sweep the show here. Make up for the 2022 appearance as he gets some massive hang time off the back of the race lane. Already far and away better than the weekend that he had in 2022. He blew an engine on night 1, then came back for day 2. We got rained out. Then when he showed up on Sunday, had the engine in good form, but broke a front diff, and he wraps up a short and sweet run with Overkill Evolution, pulling out all the stops. I'd say the only thing he didn't do was his standard 2-wheel move, but I don't know if he needed it. Just an awesome run for the black and blue machine from right here in Hagerstown. Again, truck designed by Marty Garza and One Up Off-Road and Mike Vaughters Sr. And driven to perfection by Mikey the Second now. As Axe, what's left of Axe, rolls out the Jim Kohler chassis. Give me a good look at his big V-cradle machine. Still out here running strong after all these years, Joe Foley out of Leicester, Massachusetts in the Columbus, Michigan-based Axe. Down there working the infield, this machine meaning a lot to Foley and all the firemen around the country and around the world. This is another one of these trucks that has become a fan favorite and well-known really worldwide, and great to see it bounce around the Kohler camp. It's been on a couple different chassis, but really I think has found its home here on the chassis that Foley wheels. As he doesn't want a new chassis. He knows what to do with this thing. Look at it right there. Slap with a little oil coming out on the headers. Saw it burn off there. That's what that smoke was. Nothing to worry about though, as Joe putting on a strong showing here in Axe. Up on the nose. Hang on to it, Joe. Got bucked off of that little roller, and you can see there's not much height in that thing, but if you hit the face of that coming back, it's going to throw you for a loop. Preston Perez hit that as well. Kind of bounced him back up into the air. Joe hit it hard. Like I said, got bucked over onto the front end. See what he's got left for the crowd here in Hagerstown. the front end, up underneath the truck, into the moonwalk, and he's going to shut it down right there, putting on a clinic. Joe Foley in Axe, nothing to be ashamed of in that run right there. Definitely putting the challenge to Preston Perez, who I can tell you, based on crowd response, is leading this thing right now. But they're going to do a cheer-off with the best of the best at the end of this thing to determine the overall freestyle winner. But Joe Foley laying down a shot in the big fire truck out of Michigan. Tail slap right there as he kind of cases the roller. Again, those long 4-link bars, the V-cradle, the high engine in the rear, really allowing him to do those slap wheelies like he does them now. A guy who will push the truck to its absolute limit, Ryan Disharoon in the shaker. This is the guy who designs and builds these metal shop trucks, and a lot going on upstairs with this guy. But you wouldn't know the way he drives. He just shuts the brain off and lets the right foot do the talking. Absolutely huge as he RPMs that engine. Yeah, the presence of mind to flip the headlight on there as he got down in that dark spot. I'm going to watch out for Axe. It's stuck down there in the middle. I think they may have done some transmission damage to that truck. Disharoon trying to pick up the last little bit of what's left to... Disharoon trying to pick up just that last little bit of crowd approval. They have seen some awesome stuff here tonight. Trying to throw the thing into low orbit. The shaker here in front of the crowd on the front stretch of the Hagerstown Speedway, wrapping up freestyle and doing it in fine fashion. Into the face of the roller, and he kicks it back on the rear tires. Ryan Disharoon wrapping up an awesome run in the shaker. That right there was just awesome. Just pitched it down into the face of the roller, stood it on those rear tires. He had an awesome run end to end. I still don't know who's going to end up with this freestyle victory. Again, the crowd gets to decide as we have one competitor left. And it is the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Excitement, Jim Kohler out of Columbus, Michigan, in the Avenger. Thought he was going to go for a donut there, but looked like he was just getting it turned around to head over the guardrail. Again, those little jumps over the guardrail are actually serving to get these guys down onto this infield quicker. They don't have to drive all the way around the turns and cut in through the fence. They just go right up over the rail, and that's getting them around this track actually a lot faster than usual as he gets into some real dark soil over there. Just got that foot planted as he slips and slides his way around that gravelly, dusty infield. Bouncing it into the whoops. I'll tell you what, normally they hop right up and over those little street warrior obstacles or those tough truck obstacles. He hit those things and it stopped him dead. The truck went straight up and down like it was on a trampoline. And looks like Kohler's going to wrap it up right there. Hopefully not a problem with that truck, but he took a lick there in the cab. So I think he's doing all right. Okay, we got the thumbs up from him. He refires and he will head off the track. Nicely done. A lot of hang time for Kohler as we wait on word who will take the freestyle victory here tonight. Preston Perez picking up a big victory here at Hagerstown Speedway. The fans decided, and that's the way it comes down. What a first night. We're not even close to done yet. 2 more to go from here in Hagerstown. Thank you for joining us for this edition of our coverage. We will see you next time.